One of the best parts of owning a Tesla vehicle, as well as many other modern electric vehicle brands, is how technologically integrated they are. At the center of every new electric vehicle is a powerful computer that runs all of the car's many different systems. This is what powers the central infotainment screen that is becoming standard across the industry, the latest generations of autonomous driving software, as well as the underlying motors and technical aspects of the car. One of the other great benefits of this kind of system is that the automaker can update your car to the latest software version using over-the-air software updates. This allows for developers to fix bugs, improve functionality, or even add new features to already existing vehicles. However, this kind of interconnected approach does open the door for a new kind of threat: hackers. Today we're going to discuss the current state of vehicle hacking, the risks there, and what Tesla is doing to prevent it. So let's get into it. As I mentioned earlier, there are a ton of great benefits that come with having such a technologically integrated vehicle. Software updates come frequently that improve your car in sometimes dramatic ways. The most recent Tesla update at the time of writing this video brought some improvements to visibility in the car's cameras, adding a warning to alert you about children left inside the vehicle, and a new method to unlock the charging cable using the rear door handle. That kind of functionality was likely something most people didn't think about, but since the car is so technologically interconnected, a software update allows them to radically change and increase functionality of different parts of the car. Tesla was one of the first big drivers for this kind of technology, and their cars are some of the most tech-forward in the whole industry. Ever since Tesla started pushing those boundaries of what a car can do, other companies in the industry started following suit. Rivian is another example of a vehicle manufacturer with an extremely robust software suite that they designed from the ground up. Their software is so good that they even started licensing it out to appear in all future VW vehicles, and said that other automakers are interested in incorporating it as well. GM recently announced that they are completely redesigning their software architecture from the ground up to, quote, improve vehicles faster through cloud-based over-the-air updates more in line with what consumers expect in other areas in their lives. Simultaneously, a lot of automakers and consumers prefer third-party software solutions provided by other companies like Apple's CarPlay and Android Auto. Polestar vehicles, for example, run off of a very integrated software service called Android Automotive, and Aston Martin is the first company to integrate the new CarPlay Ultra system. Both of these systems integrate deeply into the cars and across multiple screens, similar to the internally developed systems made by certain companies. At this point, it seems clear that this type of software integration is going to be the future of the whole car industry, but it doesn't come without its share of potential problems. Any interconnected technology like this comes with the potential risk of being hacked. Companies across every possible industry have to worry about this kind of thing happening to them and their clients. At various points, I'm sure we've all seen notifications that companies we know, use, or have accounts with have been hacked. These kinds of cyber attacks are happening almost constantly all across the world, but companies are working proactively to stop them before they ever become a problem. Apple and iPhones have a brand perception as being very secure devices because of this proactive approach that they take. With every update to their software, they are adding tons of new features that make it harder for unauthorized users to access devices. However, even a huge company like Apple is definitely not immune to these attacks. Just recently, a huge data breach was reported that exposed billions of login records from companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, and more. This goes to show just how much of an ongoing battle it is for these tech companies to keep up and how increasingly important cybersecurity is going forward. Like all of these other companies, Tesla is of course also trying to stay on top of any potential hacks. They are always working to prevent them, and in just about every new software update from Tesla, you will always see security improvements listed in the patch notes. In order to stay on top of any potential threats, Tesla has a very locked-down system that can prevent most unauthorized intrusions. Even still, there are occasional hacks that manage to slip through. In general, there are two kinds of hacks that Tesla worries about. The first are jailbreaks, ways of adding new features or unlocking things and changing things around in the software in a way that the developers didn't intend. Some of these can be harmless, but developers worry about the unintended consequences of people doing these hacks. For example, there was a recent viral trend where people were exploiting the settings in Apple CarPlay to temporarily tint their displays pink. This seems like a harmless change on the surface, but experts worry that this poses a risk for drivers by potentially increasing the risk for distraction. Some vehicle jailbreaks are even more invasive than that and could cause unforeseen issues across the whole system, since they are not properly vetted and tested like a true software update. The other kind of hack is an intrusion that is explicitly supposed to be malicious in nature. Whether these are people trying to break into cars, steal them, sabotage them, or any number of things, these kinds of hacks are clearly a big problem. These malicious or black hat hackers are usually stopped before they can cause any damage because of the proactive measures taken by Tesla. One big way that they fix some of these exploits is by holding special hacking competitions where hackers are rewarded for finding and reporting vulnerabilities in the system. These white hat hackers have contributed a lot to the overall security of these systems, and while it may seem counterintuitive to prevent hacks by encouraging hacks, these kinds of competitions are common in the industry and can do a lot of good. Let's discuss a few of the high-profile Tesla hacks that have occurred over the years and how Tesla responded to them. This list is not exhaustive by any means, but it goes to show how complex some of these hacks can be and how important it is to find them. Back in 2016, a team of researchers was able to discover a series of exploits that allowed them to remotely control many of the different systems of a Model S from miles away. This team was able to hack the vehicle's CAN bus, which is part of the car's central computer, which controls a great majority of its underlying components. Using a remote connection, they were able to, quote, move the seats back and forth, trigger the indicators, wing mirrors and windscreen wipers, and open the sunroof, and boot while the car was driving and in parking mode. More worryingly, the hackers could also control the car's brakes. This is a pretty serious intrusion there, and could obviously pose significant safety problems if left unaddressed. The method of gaining access was a bit convoluted, since they could only gain access to a vehicle that opened its web browser while connected to a malicious Wi-Fi signal, but still that vulnerability was there. The team reported this issue to Tesla, and shortly after, the company rolled out a huge security update to address it. This update not only fixed that particular vulnerability, but also implemented a feature that would make all future hacks that much more difficult. They added a security measure called code signing, which requires the CAN bus to check for certain encrypted markers baked into the code to ensure it is legitimate and came from Tesla. Tesla had been working on an implementation of this feature for a while, but this hack showed the urgent need for its deployment and prompted them to move quickly on implementing it. This feature was common in the computer world for years as a way to protect against malware, but this was Tesla's first step in fully locking down their own system architecture. This doesn't fully prevent hacks from occurring, of course, but it does a lot to keep the system secure and to keep exploits from piling up. The next year in 2017, a hobbyist Tesla hacker named Jason Hughes found a similar vulnerability in the vehicles at the time. One day, while examining the code in the navigation app, he was able to find a small vulnerability that quickly revealed itself to be a much larger one. Inside the app, he was able to find data on every supercharger location in the world, which would automatically update every few minutes. After a bit more investigating, the situation actually turned out to go much deeper than he thought. He said, quote, I realized a few of these things could be chained together. The official term is a bug chain, to gain more access to other things on their network. Eventually, I managed to access a sort of repository of server images on their network, one of which was Mothership. Mothership is the name of Tesla's central server that is used to communicate with their entire global fleet of vehicles. By accessing this database, he was able to get live information on the location of any Tesla vehicle in the world, as well as potentially being able to control certain features on those cars remotely. To prove the severity of the problem, he was able to remotely summon the car of Tesla's head of software security from across the entire country. Tesla awarded him $50,000 for finding and reporting the issue, and they quickly patched it. These kinds of major hacks aren't extremely common by any means, but when they do come up, they can sound very scary. Thankfully, Tesla's community outreach has done a lot to bring many vulnerabilities to light before they could ever become a true problem. One of the biggest hacking competitions in the world is the Pwn2Own security conference based out of Vancouver, Canada, a few times a year. According to their own website, quote, Pwn2Own has grown from a small contest with $10,000 prizes to the world's most prestigious hacking competition, awarding over $1 million per event. Its evolving rules mirror the shifting threat landscape, expanding to cover browsers, operating systems, servers, and, since 2019, automobiles. The first automobile that was submitted to this competition was actually the then brand new Model 3. A pair of hackers won a cash prize and the car itself from Tesla after hacking the vehicle, once again through the web browser. They were able to access a vulnerability in the infotainment screen, which allowed them to, quote, bypass memory randomization data that normally would keep secrets protected. This hack allowed them to inject code that altered the web browser display. Tesla said of this hack, quote, we entered Model 3 into the world-renowned Pwn2Own competition in order to engage with the most talented members of the security research community, with the goal of soliciting this exact type of feedback. During the competition, researchers demonstrated a vulnerability against the in-car web browser. There are several layers of security within our cars which worked as designed and successfully contained the demonstration to just the browser, while protecting all other vehicle functionality. So of course, this goes to show that while Tesla's security measures kept them from delving further into the system, like in previous hacks, there were still vulnerabilities to be found. While many of these hacks so far have been based around remotely accessing these vehicles, some hacks are more focused on direct access, so to speak. Back in 2020, one Belgian researcher was able to exploit a flaw in the keyless entry fob system on Model X vehicles, which allowed him to not only enter the car, but also start and drive the vehicle without the fob. With just the owner's VIN and a short time spent within 15 feet of their fob, he was able to use a custom device that allowed him to clone the signal used to enter the vehicle. Once inside, he found a second vulnerability that allowed him to pair his own fob and start the vehicle. All in all, this whole procedure could be completed in about 90 seconds using hardware that cost him about $300. A few years later, in 2022, one Australian hacker found a similar vulnerability, this time with Tesla's NFC keycard system. Regarding this feature, quote, not only did it allow the car to automatically start within 130 seconds of being unlocked with the NFC card, but it also put the car in a state to accept entirely new keys with no authentication required and zero indication given by the in-car display. This timed window was designed to make using one of these cards more convenient for drivers, but obviously being able to assign a new key was unintentional. Using a custom app that the hacker developed, he was able to use this brief window after the car was unlocked using a legitimate keycard to gain access to the car, create his own key, and start and stop it using that key. That same year, another hacker discovered another workaround to exploit that keycard system. This method required two hackers, one near the owner in possession of their keycard, and the other to be near the vehicle. The first hacker could use an NFC reading device held near enough to the keycard to pick up its signal. From there, that user would then transmit the signal to the hacker near the vehicle, who could then use the signal to open the car. Since the vehicle didn't need the keycard to start driving after tapping to open the door, this time frame would allow someone to start the car and drive away. However, this would only allow you to start and stop the car one time before needing that NFC signal again. While this would make stealing the car impractical for a lot of would-be thieves, this could be just enough to get the car to a shop where it would be stripped for parts. With these particular hacks, Tesla did roll out several mitigating patches to address them directly. One security feature that they have added to address unauthorized access to their vehicles is the pin to drive feature. Like the pin on your phone, this feature requires the driver to input a secure password on screen in order to start the vehicle. This obviously would work to prevent a theoretical hacker from stealing your car, but also to prevent any unauthorized users to start it, like kids in the house looking for a joyride. Most people probably don't have to worry about their Tesla getting stolen thanks to the great security features that they have. But if you were looking for a little extra security, like in the much more possible situation where your keycard was stolen, then you could input a PIN to fully protect your car. Over the last few years, we've seen some particularly impressive hacks come out of Pwn to Own that show Tesla's continuing commitment to improving security. In 2023 and 24, the top prizes for hacking Tesla vehicles were claimed by the same team both years, named Synactive. In 2023, they used a brief window after an authentic user login, but before the request could be properly fulfilled, to gain access to the system to create their own fake credentials. In 2024, they used a multi-step approach to compromise the vehicle's modem, which in turn gave them access to the car's system. Across both years, the team won a total of $200,000 from Tesla alone and a brand new Model 3. Then at the very beginning of this year, 4 separate teams were able to hack a Tesla wall connector and crash it. Additionally, since most wall connectors are connected to local networks, this creates a potential opportunity for a hacker to access that network via the charger. Each of these teams were given cash prizes, and the exploits were subsequently patched by Tesla. This is definitely not a comprehensive list of every malicious attack that has ever been launched against Tesla. These are just the high-profile ones done by white hat hackers looking to help improve Tesla's software and security, and the ones that made the news. The software-based design that Tesla takes allows for them to quickly address these kinds of hacks as they come up and to consequently be improving their security. It's a really great methodology for vehicle design, and it lets Tesla stay on the cutting edge of cybersecurity. Keeping an eye on these hacking competitions is always very fascinating, and it gives an insight into the constant push and pull of hackers and those guarding against them. On the other side of Tesla hacking, though, we have people who are jailbreaking their cars. Unlike malicious hacking, these kinds of hacks are usually meant to unlock some kind of unreleased functionality or a feature that the owner has not paid for in certain cases. These don't cause any direct harm to another user or Tesla, but it does still present some potential issues. When you're messing around with a complex software and hardware like that found in a Tesla vehicle, you do have the potential to create unanticipated problems. You might alter a piece of code that seems harmless on the surface but could cause a cascade of unintended problems down the line. It's a story that I'm sure some of you have heard before on a smaller scale, where someone jailbreaks their personal electronic device and ends up causing a lot of bugs, glitches, or outright bricking it. While that's not necessarily likely to occur, you can inadvertently cause problems for yourself if you jailbreak any device without fully knowing what you're doing. Additionally, jailbreaking something almost always has the potential to void any warranties, so it really should be approached with caution. Back in 2023, a researcher out of Berlin found a hardware exploit that could theoretically have been used to give drivers access to FSD for free. Their methodology involved a process known as voltage glitching, where they manually supply the CPU with an unexpected voltage. If done at the right time, it can cause the CPU to skip an instruction, which would then allow a hacker to inject their own code or instructions. They speculated that this process could allow them to access features that normally require additional payment, like heated rear seats in certain cars, or even access to full self-driving. At the time of these tests, they had not attempted accessing those features, but they did claim they had an encryption code that would allow them to be authenticated by Tesla's servers. This methodology hasn't been proven yet to actually get you FSD, but it is a method to jailbreak your car. If it did turn out that you could access FSD, that would be a tough thing for Tesla to fix or address, since the hack relies on physically manipulating the car. If Tesla found out that a user had done this, there's probably some sort of consequences that they could pursue, since FSD here was technically stolen. Around the same time as this, another Tesla hacker was able to find and access some secret functionality that was buried inside the FSD software. The current iteration of Tesla's full self-driving software is not fully autonomous at this point, and does require constant supervision by the driver. In the past, they ensured you were paying attention to the road by tugging on the steering wheel to detect if there was proper resistance from your hand being on the wheel, and nowadays they use cameras and sensors to ensure you are fully looking at the road. They are working towards a fully autonomous future for this software, and with the launch of their robotaxi network, they seem closer than ever. Still, it will likely be a while before your vehicle will completely drive itself without any expectation of you paying attention. However, back in 2013, Tesla hacker Green found a secret setting in FSD that actually disabled all of those supervision checks, essentially activating unsupervised FSD. He referred to this as Elon mode and was able to drive on public streets for some time without any checks from the system. This is very interesting and gives us a look at what the future of FSD could look like, where you can drive from point A to B with no supervision at all. Still, FSD requires supervision at this point for a reason, and using it without paying attention is risky, both in terms of physical safety and legality. Unsupervised autonomous driving requires a lot of permitting and certifications, so driving an unapproved version of that system could get you in trouble. While there are plenty of ways that you can hack your own car using complicated methods or by accessing hidden code, there are some companies that sell products designed to alter your car's functionality. These products have varying degrees of hackiness, with some being extremely simple additions and others being a bit more involved. Here's one product from Nginx that they called their Ghost Upgrade. This small module is designed to be plugged into your vehicle's existing wiring, and it unlocks some added functionality. Some of the features include adding 150 horsepower, enabling drift mode, activating the rear heated seats, giving finer control over regen braking, automatic driver door opening, drift mode, heated steering wheel, manual wiper control, off-road mode, rear-wheel drive mode, lap mode, and more. This module is only compatible with the Model 3 and Model Y dual-motor long-range trims from certain years and not their performance variants. This is a bit of a pricey upgrade of $1,400, and it does require some extra work in order to successfully download new software updates, but it may be an interesting offer for some. With that said, it is one of those things that doesn't work on a lot of their vehicles, and it's one of those things where they're always chasing Tesla's latest version that patches it. So that's the kind of install that I don't recommend. Finally, though, the least hacky of everything we have talked about is the S3XY or Sexy accessories from Enhance Auto. These are third-party aftermarket accessories that give you added functionality on your vehicle with less invasive installation. They sell a wide range of products, including knobs, buttons, and even stocks for Tesla's vehicles, which no longer come with them. These can be totally customized to perform a number of actions, including opening your glove box, opening your charge port, activating autopilot, controlling your wipers, and much more. For people looking to get a little more control over the functionality of their Tesla vehicle and maybe wanting more buttons without wanting to hack it, so to speak, this is a great way to do that. This is also one of those accessories that Tesla allows to exist because it's not stealing anything, it's just giving you access to features that are already there, some of which are available right through the app. This just gives you a dedicated button to do it. While the idea of your car getting hacked might sound like something out of a sci-fi thriller, the reality actually manages to be surprisingly reassuring. Tesla and other EV makers are building their platforms with cybersecurity at the core, constantly patching vulnerabilities, and even inviting hackers to help them find weaknesses before the bad actors do. Yes, the risks are there, but so is the work being done to stop them. As long as cars continue to evolve into high-tech devices on wheels, this back and forth between hackers and engineers is going to be a part of the story for every single company. It's just one more way that owning a modern EV means stepping into the future with all of its benefits and challenges. It's also something that will definitely not remain EV exclusive going into the future. That's all for this video, but in the meantime, if you want to see my top tips for a Tesla road trip, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.